Long before great white shadows, stranger hunters owned the sea. No fin like today cut these ancient waters. The horizon steamed above a planet still inventing predators. Beneath it, eyes, claws, armor, and jaws kept changing. Each era crowned a new ruler, and every ruler eventually vanished into stone. Some looked like nightmares no ocean would tolerate now. Some were elegant, fast, almost impossibly alien. All were real, and none ruled forever. The deeper we go, the older the throne becomes. Before modern sharks became the ocean symbol, other dynasties ruled. Each belonged to a vanished sea. The story starts over 500 million years ago. The water was crowded, green, and strange. Fish were barely beginning their rise. Hard shells, soft bodies, and new weapons filled the Cambrian. Then Anomalocaris appeared. For its time, it was enormous. It swam with rippling side flaps. Stalked eyes watched the dim water ahead. Spined grasping limbs reached forward. A circular mouth waited underneath. For years, people imagined it crushing trilobites. Newer studies suggest a softer menu. Its feeding tools seemed poorly built for armored shells. Soft-bodied prey was probably safer. Those huge eyes were advanced for their age. Vision mattered when bodies were still inventing armor. That does not make it gentle. It was still among the earliest apex hunters. Picture it turning with its tail fan. Prey would see movement, then shadow. In a world without sharks as we know them, this worked. Speed and surprise were enough. Its fossils once seemed like separate animals. Only later did the monster reassemble. Yet Cambrian world was fragile. Evolution was experimenting faster than any dynasty could last. After the Cambrian, oceans opened wider. New predators moved higher into open water. Straight-shelled cephalopods began their ascent. Their long cones drifted like armed javelins. Some were slim vertical migrants. They moved through the water column, not just sea floors. Their shells were chambers of buoyancy. The living animal gripped prey at the narrow end. In the Ordovician, that design spread globally. Open seas became more structured and dangerous. Scientists see this as a turning point. Pelagic food chains were becoming sustainable. That matters because big predators need reliable prey. Empty water cannot support rulers for long. Slow swimming did not mean passive. A patient hunter can own vast water. Imagine pale shell spears descending from above. The ocean suddenly has a ceiling. Smaller animals could hide below rocks. Offshore, there was nowhere solid to run. Some giant endocerids may have held the top tier. Their exact habits remain debated. Even so, cephalopods had taken command of open water. Buoyancy and grasping arms had entered the race. Every gain invited a countermeasure. Prey became faster, harder, or stranger. The throne shifted again. It would keep shifting for hundreds of millions of years. By the Silurian, another terror sliced through shallows. Sea scorpions had arrived. Neuropterids were arthropods, not true scorpions, but the resemblance is unforgettable. Most were modest by monster standards. A few pterygonids were not. Some exceeded 2.5 meters. That made them the largest arthropods ever known. They carry powerful claws. Binocular vision gave them precise depth perception. In estuaries and coastal waters, that was enough. Primitive fish shared the same hunting grounds. One strike could pin a meal. One missed grab stirred clouds of silt. These were not open ocean marathon swimmers usually, but some sea scorpions crossed wider waters. Their bodies looked half-armored canoe, half-nightmare. Their legs paddled through ancient bays. Imagine wading there at dusk. The ripple beside you has joints. When they disappeared, they left a lesson. Arthropods too once wore the crown. And still sharks were there, already ancient. They simply had not inherited everything yet. Ocean rule was never a straight line. It was a relay through deep time. Then came the Devonian, the age of fishes. Competition became harder, faster, and heavier. Reefs expanded. Jawed vertebrates diversified into dazzling forms. Placoderms rose among them. Their heads and chests wore living armor. The most famous was Dunkleosteus. Its name still lands like thunder. Older reconstructions made it a bus-sized titan. Newer work suggests a shorter, stouter predator. Typical adults may have been near 3.4 meters, the biggest known individuals perhaps around 4.1. Even revised, its skull remains enormous. Much of the body behind it was cartilaginous. Smaller than legend, yes, no less formidable. It did not need knife teeth, bone blades sheared together like self-sharpening shears. That bite focused force brilliantly. Armor and struggling prey alike faced dangerous mechanics. Here, at last, sharks had real rivals. The seas were crowded with jawed hunters. Early sharks were already evolving quietly. Placoderms simply dominated many starring roles. The Devonian did not belong to one face, it belonged to escalation. Sharks were present even then, astonishingly old, but they were not yet the lasting icon. For long stretches, power was shared. Often sharks were simply outshone. Dunkleosteus ruled a chapter, not the whole book, but what a chapter it was. Devonian oceans shimmered over reefs and mud. Every shadow might hide armor. Then extinction struck in pulses. Placoderms declined, and the cast changed again. Sharks survived those crashes better than many rivals. Survival is its own kind of genius. But shark dominance was still not guaranteed. The Mesozoic would prove that brutally. After the Permian catastrophe, oceans rebuilt themselves. Reptiles invaded the vacancy with astonishing speed. Ichthyosaurs were among the earliest success stories. They looked like dolphins, far too soon. They breathed air, yet mastered the sea. Evolution sometimes repeats good shapes. Their bodies were torpedoes. Their eyes could be enormous. Some hunted fish and squid. Some rose into the top predator tier. In the early Jurassic, Temnodontosaurus loomed above many neighbors. Fossils suggest a powerful hunter. Healed injuries mark violent encounters. They hint at clashes with rivals or their own kind. Their bodies were built for pursuit, not drifting. The hunt had become fully three-dimensional. Evidence from some populations suggests relatively shallow diving. Not every giant hunted in abyssal blackness. That makes the world more vivid. These monsters may have cruised within light. Sunbeams above, ammonites below, predator beside you. The Jurassic Sea mirrors around that image. And ichthyosaurs were only the beginning. Another body plan was coming. Ichthyosaurs turned the ocean into ambush country. Big heads and short necks changed everything. Their foreflippers did not row clumsily. They flew underwater. Jaws opened wide enough for large prey. Power came first, elegance followed. If you had one day here, would you last? Tell me below. Which ruler feels worse to meet face first? The armored fish, the sea scorpion, or the pliosaur? Or would silent shell hunters unsettle you more? Ancient oceans offered many wrong answers. Liopleurodon became the emblem of this design. Reality is impressive without exaggeration. No, it was not the impossible giant of old television. Yes, it was still fearsome. Later pliosaurs grew even larger. Some skulls alone stretched beyond human height. Underwater flight let them bank and strike. Few bones in the sea promised mercy. A pliosaur entering frame would not need speed first. Presence would do the work. Fish scattered. Other reptiles had to measure the distance carefully. Here the ocean crown belonged to reptiles, unmistakably. Sharks persisted, but not as sole monarchs. But even pliosaurs were temporary. Another takeover was coming fast. Far above them, continents kept drifting apart. New seaways created new stages. Ichthyosaurs waned by the mid-Cretaceous. Pliosaurs, too, would lose their grip. Nature hates an empty apex. Mosasaurs rushed into the opening. They were not dinosaurs. They were marine lizards, kin to monitors and snakes. Their ancestors came from land. The ocean remade them with paddles and powerful tails. By the late Cretaceous, they were everywhere. Inland seas and open waters both knew them. Some reached roughly bust length. Many were built for opportunism. Their jaws carried replacement teeth for life. Their skulls flexed to seize struggling prey. Fossil stomachs tell the story plainly. fish, cephalopods, birds, sharks, even other mosasaurs. That is not movie embellishment, it is stomach evidence in bit and bone. They likely preferred productive shallow seas, but their bodies handled open water well. North America once held a warm inland ocean. Mosasaurs moved through it like living verdicts. Above them flew pterosaurs. Below, ammonite spiraled through filtered green light. A mosasaur tail swept side to side. Half its body could seem all engine. Young ones still feared larger predators. Adults gave fear more often than they received it. Even birth changed in the sea. At least some mosasaurs bore live young. In these waters, sharks were prey as well as competitors. That tells you who held status. Yet even this empire ended suddenly. The asteroid closed the Cretaceous with global force. Mosasaurs vanished. Pliosaurs were already gone, and ichthyosaurs earlier still. Sharks crossed the boundary alive. Many older monsters did not. That survival chained the ocean forever. The throne at last had lasting tenants. Cartilage helped, perhaps. So did versatility, speed, and reproductive success. So, were sharks absent before? Not at all. They were present astonishingly early, but presence is not the same as unquestioned rule. The ocean kept choosing different champions. Arthropods, armored fish, cephalopods, and reptiles all had auras. Each solved the same problem differently. Find prey, outswim rivals, survive change. Some used claws, some used armor. Some used buoyant shells, some used flexible tails and immense eyes. The fossils do not show a single ladder, they show repeated experiments in power. A circular Cambrian mouth, a Devonian bony guillotine, a Silurian claw, a Cretaceous lizard jaw. None was inevitable. Each was a temporary answer to ancient pressures. Water chemistry shifted, continents moved. Food webs broke and reformed, extinctions reset the stage. And each reset opened room for invention. Monsters were often the result. When we picture ancient seas, sharks dominate imagination. The deeper truth is richer. Before shark fame hardened into icon, many rulers had their turn. The ocean remembers them in fragments. And because rot preserves moments, not movies, humility matters. Scientists reconstruct carefully, then revise. A tooth, a paddle, a shell chamber, enough remains to rebuild whole worlds. That is the miracle of paleontology. Stone keeps just enough for wonder. It also keeps humility. Most lives vanished without leaving a trace. Our species has existed for a blink. These dynasties ruled for ages beyond memory. Their worlds felt permanent from within. None were. So which ocean ruler would you fear most? Write your answer below. Subscribe and ring the bell for more journeys. There are older worlds waiting. Deep time is not empty behind us. It is crowded with kings,